I always thought my roommate was the perfect student until I found out what she was really doing at 3 a.m. Maya never missed class, always had perfect notes, and somehow knew everything about our professors' personal lives. Like she'd casually mention Dr. Carter's messy divorce before he announced his leave of absence, or know exactly which obscure topics would show up on surprise quizzes that blindsided everyone else in our biochemistry program. I figured she was just really good at reading people. Maybe she paid extra attention during office hours or had some kind of photographic memory that helped her pick up on subtle cues the rest of us missed. But then I started noticing weird things that didn't add up. She'd wake up looking absolutely exhausted, even though she claimed to get 8 hours of sleep every night. Dark circles under her eyes, yawning through morning lectures, chugging energy drinks like her life depended on it. Her laptop would be warm in the morning when I distinctly remembered it being completely shut down the night before, and sometimes I'd find muddy footprints by our dorm door that definitely weren't mine, especially on rainy nights when neither of us had left the building. At first I thought maybe she was sneaking out to hook up with someone. College, right? But Maya was obsessively focused on her GPA. She color-coded her study schedule, had flashcards for everything, and barely had time for friends, let alone secret boyfriends. Her side of the room looked like a library exploded. Textbooks stacked everywhere, highlighters in perfect rows, sticky notes covering every surface. The mystery got weirder when she started predicting things with scary accuracy. She casually mentioned that Professor Williams was probably going to extend the deadline on our research paper the day before he actually sent the email announcing it. She knew Professor Martinez was going to cancel Thursday's lecture before the official notification went out. She even predicted when the dining hall was going to change their lunch menu. It was like she had insider information on everything happening around campus. One night I couldn't sleep because of my neighbor blasting music until 2 a.m., and around 3 I heard this weird rustling sound coming from Maya's side of the room. I peeked out from under my covers and saw something that made my blood run cold. Maya was walking around our tiny dorm room in her pajamas, eyes completely closed, moving like she was following some invisible map. Her movements were deliberate but unnatural, like a robot following programming. She grabbed her laptop from her desk, slipped on her sneakers without socks, grabbed her student ID card, and headed straight for the door. I watched in complete confusion as she quietly opened it and walked down the hallway like she knew exactly where she was going, even though she was clearly still asleep. I threw on clothes as quietly as possible and followed her across campus. It was freezing cold, probably around 30 degrees, and I felt like a total creep stalking my own roommate, but I had to know what was happening. She walked straight to the academic building, somehow got inside through a side entrance that should have been locked after 10 p.m., and went directly to Professor Johnson's office on the 3rd floor. The door was obviously locked, but she just stood there for about 10 minutes, perfectly still, pressing her ear against the door like she was listening to something only she could hear. Her breathing was steady and deep, like she was in some kind of meditative trance. Then she turned around and walked back to our dorm, still completely asleep, navigating stairs and doorways without ever opening her eyes. The next morning, she mentioned casually over breakfast that Johnson was probably going to announce a pop quiz that day because he'd seemed really stressed lately about our class's performance. Sure enough, he announced it first thing, and while half the class panicked and failed, Maya aced it like she'd studied the exact questions beforehand. I started watching her every night after that. It became this bizarre routine. She'd sleepwalk to different professors' offices, stand outside their doors for several minutes, then return home. Sometimes she'd visit the same office multiple nights in a row. Other times, she'd hit 3 different buildings in one trip. Somehow she was absorbing information through walls while completely unconscious. It explained everything: her perfect grades, her insider knowledge, her constant exhaustion. When I finally worked up the courage to confront her about it, she had absolutely no memory of leaving our room. She thought I was making it up until I showed her videos I'd taken on my phone. We went to the campus health center together, and after a bunch of tests and a referral to a sleep specialist, we got the answer. Turns out Maya has an extremely rare neurological condition where her brain processes ambient sounds and conversations from nearby spaces while she sleepwalks. She was literally downloading professors' late-night phone calls, office conversations, and planning sessions without any conscious awareness. The doctor said her brain was treating these midnight walks like some kind of information-gathering mission, filing away everything she overheard for later use. Now she wears noise-canceling headphones to bed and takes medication to prevent the sleepwalking episodes. Her grades dropped to a solid B average, but at least she's actually earning them now.